On to this impeachment poll. This is a huge, huge story today as well, Peter Beinart. This impeachment poll, this is conducted by Washington Post, George Mason University. We'll throw up a couple of the numbers here. You see 58%. So the majority of Americans say that they endorse now the opening of this House impeachment inquiry. And then the other number that I want to highlight, 49%, say that the House should take a more significant step to impeach the president and call for his removal. Do you think those numbers, as I'm thinking of not just Democrats but Republicans here, is that enough for them to break and speak up against the president?
I don't think so far it's enough. What Republicans will be looking at primarily is what Republican voters think. And in such a starkly divided country along partisan lines, most Republican voters are still anti-impeachment, still don't think that Trump did anything that wrong. Again, largely because they're getting a lot of media information which is telling them that message. So I don't think, with the exception of maybe a couple, this would be enough to ratify an impeachment yet. But we have seen some movement. The movement could continue. And what I think we at least can say is the conventional wisdom as of a few months ago, which was that Democrats would suffer politically if they pushed forward with impeachment. I think that has changed. I don't think the impeachment push on Ukraine is hurting Democrats politically.
What more? I was just talking to a Republican last hour, and he said the exact same thing. There's not enough. He said we have to keep watching the facts, and there's just not enough there yet. What else would need to be there for the Republicans to change their minds?
I really don't think it's about facts. I think it's about courage. I really think you already have enough. You had enough on the day that the transcript was revealed. Yes, it might be a little bit easier if there were some more obvious quid pro quo, but the evidence that there was a deal being made with Ukraine about the meeting in response to an investigation is all the way out there already. I really think that it's a question of whether enough Republicans can get together in private and have a conversation about how they want to be remembered by their grandchildren rather than whether they want to get reelected.
Dick Durbin was sitting in that seat, Senator Dick Durbin, on Friday, and he used the exact same word, courage.
Lindsey Graham sure has changed his tune since the Clinton impeachment.
Article 3 of impeachment against Richard Nixon, the article was based on the idea that Richard Nixon, as president, failed to comply with subpoenas of Congress. The day Richard Nixon failed to answer that subpoena is the day that he was subject to impeachment, because he took the power from Congress over the impeachment process away from Congress, and he became the judge and jury.
Where's that Lindsey Graham? Was he like snatched by the invasion of the body snatchers? Did the body snatchers get him? Who was that guy? Then there's Trey Gowdy, who sources tell CNN will work with the White House as outside counsel. Trey Gowdy, the former congressman who felt really, really strongly about anybody withholding information and documents from Congress. Well, he felt strongly when he thought Democrats were doing it.
The notion that you can withhold information and documents from Congress, no matter whether you're the party in power or not in power, is wrong. Respect for the rule of law must mean something irrespective of the vicissitudes of political cycles.
If they're watching, I wonder if the sheets, like, oh my God. You guys aren't embarrassed for that? Trey Gowdy, of course, went on to chair the Benghazi committee. Remember the multiple investigations that went into Benghazi that ultimately turned up nothing. Remember those? And the millions of dollars that were spent turned up nothing. And then there's another familiar face from those hearings. Then Congressman Mike Pompeo, who sure had a lot of complaints about not getting documents from then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
I will tell you that the record that we've received today does not reflect that. It simply doesn't. We've read the emails. We've read everything that we could get our hands on. It's taken us a long time to get it, but I will tell you, you just described all of this other information that you relied upon, and it doesn't comport with the record that this committee has been able to establish today. It would have been, we don't know exactly who.
Well, it would be helpful.
It would have been one of your State Department employees, Madam Secretary. I don't know which one. Perhaps you could enlighten us, or we can get the records we need to do so.
Where's that Mike Pompeo? But when it comes to giving information to Congress now, or even answering questions, here's Mike Pompeo dodging.
Mr. Secretary, why did you instruct Ambassador Sondland not to testify?
Thank you all. Good morning. Nothing to say there. The president marshaling his Republican defenders as a battle rages with Congress and taking to Twitter, of course, to say he would really love to send Ambassador Sondland to testify, but he can't. He's the president, right? Couldn't he do it if he really wanted to? Blaming what he calls a kangaroo court where Republicans' rights have been taken away. Now, where have I heard something like that before? I'd really love to cooperate, but...
Would you be willing to speak under oath to give your version of those events?
100%.
Are you going to talk to Mullen?
I'm looking forward to it, actually.
To reach a higher standard, you would do it under oath.
Oh, I would do it under oath.
Mr. President, would you still like to testify to Special Counsel Robert Mueller, sir?
Thank you.
Sure. I would like to. You would like to?
I would like to.
I would love to speak because we've done nothing wrong. I would love to speak. I would love to go. Nothing I want to do more. I would love to speak. I would love to. Nobody wants to speak more than me. In fact, against my lawyers, because most lawyers, they never speak on anything.
Are you more likely to sit for an interview now?
My lawyers are working on that. I've always wanted to do an interview because, look, there's been no collusion.
President sure has learned the lessons from the Mueller investigation, hasn't he? And there was another Twitter exchange today that you might have missed. The president, who almost 3 years into his term, still can't quit Hillary Clinton, tweeting that she should run again and steal the race from Elizabeth Warren. Clinton's very succinct reply, "Don't tempt me. Do your job."
It is along these busy border roads where Boris Johnson's final Brexit offer to Brussels has the highest stakes.
We will, under no circumstances, have checks at or near the border in Northern Ireland. We will respect the peace process and the Good Friday Agreement.
And it is in the communities that live along the border that fears of Johnson's failure runs deepest.
We can see the potential that it has to bring us back to the dark, bad old days.
Black was left for dead, the sole survivor of a border shooting that killed 10 work colleagues during the depths of Northern Ireland's mostly sectarian violence known as the Troubles. He fears no deal would mean border posts, an historic focus for Irish nationalist terrorists.
My big fear is that a customs man will be killed in some of these attacks, and then you have the police to protect the customs.
Peter Sheridan was a former top cop during the Troubles. Doesn't doubt lives are on the line.
There are probably 2,500 people alive today because of the Good Friday Agreement and tens of thousands of people uninjured.
He witnessed what it took to shut down terrorist attacks and smuggling along a 10-mile stretch of border.
We ended up with 12 army watchtowers, 6 helicopter bases, 6 army bases, 4 police stations, 40 roads permanently sealed off, and 6 permanent checkpoints on other roads.
2 decades of peace restored calm, removed border blocks, rebuilt livelihoods, created dependence on an open border. But it didn't fix the underlying tension between aspirations for a united Ireland or a united kingdom. If Johnson fails in Brussels, no place will be worse hit than the border.
The impact on Northern Ireland alone could see 40,000 jobs go. A lot of the firms that trade just within their local economy here close to the border areas would be significantly impacted.
Johnson's failure would be a perfect storm for Irish nationalist terror groups. Border posts would be a magnet for recruitment. Fewer jobs meaning more potential recruits. And customs checks meaning smuggling, making money for more attacks. A lot along this border rides on the British Prime Minister. Nick Robertson, CNN, along the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland border.